There is no line crossed. There is no genie taken out of a bottle. The age of $90 games is not upon us, it is back. Yeah, Mario Kart 80. That's my name for it. If anybody calls it Mario Kart 80 around you, then they stole it from me. As the name of the stream implies, I'm about to cook these children over the Nintendo Switch 2 debate, and we're gonna do some fact checking while I chop this fucking tree. Because there's a lot that pisses me off about the endless stream of fucking YouTube videos. Like, I'm not gonna show my YouTube recommended because who would do such a thing? But
what do you have to hide?
Everything. Let's see, just on a casual refresh here, what I'm being recommended for having watched the Nintendo Direct. I can't believe that it's betraying me right now, actually, because I've scrolled quite a ways and have not seen any of the myriad videos that I'll see recommended to me at work. Maybe YouTube caught on that I'm like not interested, or they know that I'm here to shit on these people. Including one where this guy has a fucking fake beard on and pretends to be not a wizard. Real funny man. He's got like 3 videos on it. He is dedicated to the craft at this point.
Well, you know.
Yeah, not a single fucking video. I can't believe it. That's okay.
He's got 3 videos out right now. That's because it's a hot topic right now, and it's doing numbers, and he's probably making...
yeah, it is a hot topic, and it's doing numbers.
It's the time to post videos, because you will make money if you have a following.
And that's why I'm here, right? Is because I'm about to get that following of people that are going to call me a Nintendo shill. There's one that Nintendo can't do sequels here, and it's got the Wii U and the 3DS and now the Switch 2, and I'm guessing they're thinking, well, yeah, the Switch 2 is going to bomb ass like the fucking Wii U, and it's going to have a hard start like the 3DS, but you can't call the 3DS fucking bomb, because the 3DS fucked for its entire life.
What about the Wii U?
The Wii U is a fucking bomb. It is the Virtual Boy 2. But I think anybody that has a YouTube account and sees recommended videos in the gaming sphere has seen the tons and tons of videos like, oh, don't buy the Nintendo Switch 2. Boycott their ass. I don't want to fucking see the Nintendo Switch 2. I've had it with Nintendo. They're overpriced. Some bullshit like that because they're fucking paupers.
Well, okay, look, don't... It's like, you can't... You have to qualify the argument, okay, pauper, because that's what all the fucking snoy boys were doing when the PS5 came out. They're like, well, what are you, poor?
Yeah, I'm aware.
No.
I'm aware, and
you gotta qualify it. There's a reason.
And yeah, I'm only shitting around when I call people poor. Vaguely shitting around, because we have to admit the average Nintendo fan. There is not an average Nintendo fan. There's some sort of mathematical logic to a Nintendo fan, but it's not an average.
The average Nintendo fan is definitely a soccer mom / soccer dad, okay?
I don't want to hear that.
They do exist. They are! I'm sorry!
It's not Animal Crossing Nintendo fans that are out here in the YouTube comments complaining. And the people that have the right to complain in the YouTube comment section would be parents of children that are like, oh man, I'm barely making ends meet, and little Timmy's gonna come up on me on June the 6th or 9th or whenever the shit this thing comes out. And he's gonna say, Dad, I want the fucking Nintendo Switch 2. I gotta play Mario Kart 80. And then Dad's gonna have to buy it, and he's gonna have to not get the fucking groceries, and he's gonna have to let the electricity bill lapse, and little Timmy's gonna have to play that shit in handheld mode until the battery dies.
Eating ice soup.
Yeah, he's eating ice soup.
I have seen like 4 or 5 comments about that. However, funnily enough, they're like smartest 8-year-old you know, where it's like, well, me and my son watched this direct. He's like 8, 9, 10, something like that. And I said, okay, well, do you want... Hi, MK! And it's like, you want the Switch 2 and that Mario Kart, or do you want... like, I don't remember what the number was. It was anywhere from 2 to like 5 other games for the Switch, right? Which you already have. And the children are always choosing more games for the Switch, which you already own. And I'm thinking, okay, 2 games on the Switch versus...
2 U's over
Like,
here.
I think
Okay.
some people were thinking about Mario Kart's price, which is 80, and then some people were talking about, like, the bundle price. And so, like, 5, yeah, okay, that makes sense on bundle price. But if it's, like, 5 on 80, it's like, what are you're buying, like, what are you buying? Plants vs. Zombies DLC or something? Like, 5 of those? What? Very cheap games.
You're gonna talk about the Switch 2 also, real quick? Oh, I'm
Mhm.
glad, man. We got the chat involvement and everything.
Holy shit.
There's one thing I wanted to talk about but forgot last time.
Oh.
Oh.
Did you make that bullet point list of topics?
No, not at all. I think
Oh!
download play coming back from 3DS is pretty hype. They revealed that as
Yeah.
a Switch 1 feature, didn't they? Like with the
Big one, like,
well,
is
they
it-
did show the like straight up you have a copy of a game and you give it to your friends. Yeah, that's neat.
even online, I thought they said, like,
And
over the
and
internet you
that's
can do that.
well, no, that was the
That's-
sharing the digital game cartridge, which
I
is
thought
not
that was
playing
games
multiplayer.
with people.
I mean, maybe it
thought
is.
was.
It's easy to forget all the features they showed. They showed a lot of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's actually a DS feature, not just a 3DS feature. The DS was able to do
Well,
that too.
I get the DS and 3DS mixed up because it's like.
Yeah, go ahead and call them the same console.
But
That'll
download
fly.
play was something that I didn't really get to do it much. I think like once, and weirdly enough, it was like I think it was an advanced game or something. Can't remember. But that shit was such a sick idea, honestly, because that's one of the biggest fucking problems is that you'll have the console and everybody else will have the console, but not everybody has a copy of the game, and you're hanging. It's like that's like one of the biggest things. Everybody having to own a copy of the game for everybody to be able to actually hang out and play. And like, oh sure, it's a market strategy, but it's just. I don't know, it's just nice. It's just nice that they're making that possible for people to be able to play together easily. Like, that's the whole point of their consoles, too, right? A lot of people will bring up in comments, like, that's why I have a Switch. I can sit on the couch and play it with my wife and son. You know, it's the couch co-op gameplay console, sorta. That
Yeah,
was brought up
and
a
I mean
lot.
it's nice. It's nice when people that don't want the game don't have to buy the fucking game.
Actually, GBAs. Ooh.
Yeah,
Some
there
games
were
did
some
have a
games on
link
the
cable
GBA that
feature,
you could
yeah,
just
yeah.
give to people, and the e-reader
It's such
I think
a
also
cool
lets you do
idea.
shit like that.
Oh, I never had an e-reader. That's cool.
Get an e-reader
It's such
sitting
a
right
cool
here on the
idea.
shelf.
I really appreciate the idea. It's a nice idea.
The endless slew of it's hot shit to talk about this videos.
This is why you should have made a bullet point list. Pull up that guy's comment and just read it off point by point like
Oh
you did.
no. I gotta. We gotta start from the start. We gotta lay the groundwork. There's lots of videos. I did watch a couple of them because it's like, you know, I want to know what these dumbasses have to say. I always listen to the opinions of a moron. It is a character
true.
flaw.
He listens to me. That's right. We get married.
And one of the things that stands out as a common complaint is people saying that Nintendo is cowardly for having not revealed the price of the Switch in the Direct, where they were like, we'll have more information on the internet. MK's out of opinions for the Switch too. So everyone says, yeah, I'm sure he'll form more as he listens to me ramble and play RuneScape. Everyone is, not everyone, several people have been like, Nintendo's cowardly for not revealing the price on this thing. And like, I'm gonna disagree. They have never revealed the price of a fucking game in a direct, nor have they revealed the price of the consoles when they reveal them. Like Sony did that shit back when they shot themselves in the foot and said $599 for the PlayStation 3.
I think it's really weird
and
it's like
Sony continually does that shit actually, because when they revealed the PlayStation 5, they said the motherfucker's $700 and everyone was like, that's crazy. And they were correct to say that's crazy. I would not be saying right now, I would not be talking to the microphone if Nintendo had said $700 for the fucking Switch 2. I would be like, that's inane. There's so much shit that you could buy for $700 that isn't the Switch 2. They are out of their mind.
Well, it's also, if you look at, I know people don't like to hear inflation, but I mean, if you look at trend of inflation from previous console title, it's like in line with it. It's completely normal.
Yeah, I'm not even going to involve
It's
myself
not.
with the
It's not
concept of
some.
inflation right now.
Well, I mean, it's not even some strange leap, but yeah, later or whatever. When
Yeah,
if it becomes relevant.
I think inflation might become relevant, but
Mm.
for now, I think it's just the dumbest fucking argument possible to say they were cowardly. They didn't it's like, oh, they didn't want to buzzkill the fucking moment in the direct. It's like, oh, everyone's hyped for this shit, and we don't want to let them know it's going to be expensive. No one should have sat down thinking, oh, it's going to be cheap as hell. It's going to be
Maybe okay.
$300 for this shit, just like it was $300 for the Switch. Like, that
Yeah,
never happens.
but like, it's it's better hardware. B, it's like later inflation's like whatever. But like, here's the God damn, the Switch was a while ago, man. I think maybe, you know, what with like, it's the state of the world. People are thinking about money right now because shit's tight right now for a lot of people, and a lot of that's in the air right now. So it's probably just like maybe people got used to other companies doing it, and so it's on their mind to be annoyed by it. But it is true that Nintendo, I've never, they haven't done that for their games or their consoles as far as I can remember in the actual reveals or the directs.
MK Switch 2 prices are higher than any Nintendo console like ever, but it's definitely not higher than the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 was like $399 for the little shit model, and then it was $599 for the less shit model. Let me back that up.
Yeah,
We're going to do the number one source of information, Wikipedia,
Whoa.
because they cite their sources.
You
It
got
was
pricing and history.
in introductory price $499 for the
Oh,
PlayStation 3, 20 gigabytes on
Wait.
console storage.
3? Oh, $4.99?
Yes, $499. Wikipedia
Wow.
has done us the favor of inflating that cost in 2024 dollars to $780 fucking dollars.
Okay, well.
The best industry analysts at the time theorize that Sony actually produced this thing for more than they sold it for, and that Sony lost fucking money on every sale of a console.
That's
The
insane.
60 gigabyte model was $599 US dollars. Thank you, Kaz Hirai Ridge Racer. Equivalent of $940 in 2024. The fucking iPad ass PlayStation 3.
How fucking powerful is that console? How fucking powerful should that console be, considering?
This Blu-ray disc player.
Oh, right, I forgot.
You could also play PlayStation game discs and PlayStation 2 game discs for the first couple of runs.
Wait, the PS3?
I think losing money on console sales is normal. No, the idea is to make it back with the game and services. So that's what people have argued in the past. And I only know as a fact that people said that Sony did that with the PlayStation 3. There might be some argument that Nintendo sold the Wii U at a loss, but like I think most people assume that Nintendo has never once sold any of their shit at a loss because they are always several hardware generations behind in terms of power.
Mm-hmm.
But the PlayStation 3, in its defense, was kind of bleeding edge shit. But unfortunately, it wasn't on the bleeding edge of having any fucking video games.
Shut up.
There's no, like, especially with Japanese companies, there's like no telling. They won't fucking come out and be like, yeah, actually, we're selling this shit at the biggest fucking loss possible. You better be happy that we exist. They've never, like, I don't think Nintendo wouldn't admit if they lost money on jack shit. It had to be pulled out of them in an investors meeting that the Wii U was a criminal flop for them. The Wii U did so bad they gave Iwata cancer and killed him for that shit. And that's only the second time they've ever killed an executive after Gunpei Yokoi for his work on the Wonder Swan. Look that shit up. Maybe we'll see it one day with fucking what's his name, the lifeless suit that doesn't even show up in the directs anymore because he realizes everyone hates him. Speaking of lifeless suits in these directs, man, they need to get that dude a new fucking suit. I will happily pay $450 for this console just to buy him a tailor.
Shut up. Leave him alone. Baggy suit man's funny.
If we compare the Switch 2 to, like, the Steam Deck, which I know that's probably a fucking take for me to compare it to that. But the Steam Deck launched at 400, and that was where a lot of fucking the guys that write articles that are not me got probably where they got their $400 price, where they were like, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be $399 plus tax plus tip plus tariff. Given I'm not even gonna talk about the stats. I don't fucking care about the specs. I don't care about the fucking graphics. They could have sold me the NES again as long as it has multiplayer Metroid on it.
I don't know. I think you'll care about it when you talk about Metroid because you did mention.
Right. If there's a game for me to give a shit about the graphics with, it's Metroid Prime, and that's only because of the legacy of Metroid Prime.
Because of the GameCube thing.
The GameCube Metroid Prime is fucking beautiful. And it is to this day fucking beautiful. There is nothing like it. Metroid Prime 2 isn't even like Metroid Prime 1. They outdid themselves immediately on making Metroid Prime. You can't follow that act up. And that's the truth. Metroid Prime 3 on the fucking Wii didn't look anywhere near as good as Metroid Prime 1 because they have to make all these fuck-ass sacrifices to make a quote-unquote playable game. And Metroid Prime 3 wasn't even really truly playable. I'm going to go there. I'm going to take a look at the Wii here. Piece of shit. Not the Wii U. The normal Wii. Taken a Wii. It launched at $250. Wikipedia rounds that up to $389.92 in 2024. Not my problem. Another important thing to note is that people have bitched and said, "Oh, well, things are so cheap in Japan. They've sold it for so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper in Japan." Like, there's a Japanese-only version that is genuinely like $100 off, but it is Japanese only. Japanese nationalism, I guess. The truth of the matter is that they have priced their consoles for forever, where you say it's $249.99 in the United States, and it is 25,000 yen, which when you carry the little decimal place might as well be 250. And that ignores how weak the yen is in comparison to the dollar, and like that's what they like. So they have always priced their consoles cheaper in Japan, technically speaking, but the numbers look the same. How about the Wii U? What about that tremendous waste of money? What did it release at? I don't even remember. I was broke as fuck at the time and still bought it. $300. It was $50 more, which the Switch, I think I earlier said, also launched at $300. So I think people, maybe there's a little bit of sticker shock over the fact that like Nintendo only goes up by 50 every time, and people are like, yeah, it's gonna be $350, but most people knew it was gonna be $400. The entire point to this rambling is that if you go and look it up and you go and you like watch E3, Nintendo has never been like, yeah, we're selling the Wii and it's gonna be $250 on November the 10th when it comes out or whenever the fuck. And they didn't with the Switch. I went and looked for it. They've actually privated the original launch trailer for the Switch, apparently. Don't know why. But
maybe to cut down on confusion for searching, because it's called Switch 2.
True. But they didn't announce a price for it. They announced a price later, or else it was on their website, just like this. They have never once in the directs, if you go back and you watch the directs, they don't be like, okay, here's Super Princess Peach or whatever that fucking Showtime, that was the name of it. They didn't say, all right, it's gonna be $59.99. Like,
you know, a reason for that might also be that, like, okay, so they've got the Japanese language release, and then they've got the English language release. Do they do releases in any other language, or is, like, the English language release basically the global language release? And so it's going to be launching to people that are in Canada and Europe that use different currencies, so why would they put the price, you know?
I don't pay any attention to any other languages but English and Japanese because I am a weeaboo. So I can't answer that, but I could see it being a thing. But they also don't tell you the price of it in the Japanese directs. And there has never been a reason to, nor has there been an expectation that they would, until all of a sudden, you have people making these fucking videos where they're like, oh, the cowards, they didn't want you to know. They didn't want you to know it was going to cost so much. They just wanted you to be hyped for it and just be ready to pre-order it
Name
with
names. Who's making this ridiculous statement? Who did it?
I
Call them out.
believe that Sir Penguin's Zero, Charlie himself
Oh,
made this
what?
uninformed opinion. I watched a little bit of
That's-
his video.
That's a huge name.
The dude,
Careful.
the aforementioned wizard, pretending to be a wizard, whatever his fucking name is. Oh, here he is, actually. Real life fake wizard who has just dropped a video
Ah.
7 hours ago. How to respond to Nintendo shills. After his like 3 videos. Let me go to his channel.
Oh God.
Nintendo is run by spineless cowards 2 days ago. Nintendo is the greedy final boss of gaming 6 days ago. Minecraft movie is worse than Snow White 5 days ago.
These are very clickbait titles.
These are very
It's like
clickbait titles.
Huge sensationalism, and like maybe okay, it doesn't give me much faith that his videos are going to be anything other than like riling up a mob who isn't actually here to look up prices or listen to any kind of reason. It's not like I want to suck Nintendo's dick or anything, and I think a lot of the shit they do is stupid as fuck, and I don't like it. But I don't think that not announcing the price when they've literally never done that is the fucking hill to die on. Or rile a mob on.
These
It's
two
stupid.
bearded
It's
individuals,
ignorant.
one of them with a fake beard and one of them with a real beard, said dumb shit like they didn't even announce the price. But what they did say was go check out the more information that we're going to have on our website later today.
Yeah.
And I don't think
Where
that
the
that's
price
hiding
is.
the that's where the fucking price is at.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody said, "Holy shit, Mario Kart costs $80 fucking dollars."
Okay.
I am a fan of Nintendo games. They are excellent video games in this world of just shitbag horse fuck. But I am not a fan of Nintendo because they are a faceless dickhead corporation that exists to make money.
Middle managers.
And have never been anybody's friend, and they have always done the sleaziest, shittiest thing possible at any given time. That is their modus operandi, to do the worst shit imaginable. And I don't understand why people would suddenly feel betrayed. They get away with it, and it's easy to get away with it because the fucking games they make are good. And it's easy, it's possible, in fact, to love the game and not the artist. The game artist.
Well, it's not even necessarily the artist. It's like it's literally the corporate suits, you know.
It is the corporate suits,
producers,
and like
not directors, producers, you know.
Right. I'm comparing it to the whole love the art not the artist kind of argument. Because they are ultimately the bankroller of the art, and that's fine. They have done endless amounts of bad guy shit. Another Metroid 2 remake is so fucking annihilated by Nintendo that they won't even allow you to stream it on Twitch.com. The Portal N64 debacle, which wasn't as just bad guy shit as people suspected at first, but was definitely still bad guy shit. The endless takedowns of fan games and like ROM hacks and shit, where it's just like, I mean, how much do you really stand to gain from this? To just
they're
alienate
hurting their
people.
fucking reputation. That's why I say the average Nintendo fan, it's a fucking soccer mom who has no idea any of this shit's going on. It's grandma buying a safe game for the kids, right? That's the average Nintendo fan.
Even beyond that, even if you can say that's the average Nintendo fan, and it is the truth. No, there is a deposit box right here. That he's kind of smart. Even if that's the truth, people will still forgive Nintendo within a week's time. And it's honestly, like last year or maybe 2 years ago, it was honestly a joke where Nintendo would do something reprehensible, like annihilate some Super Smash Brothers tournament, or fucking, I don't know, pay for bombs in Pakistan. And then they would be like, all right, we're dropping a Nintendo Direct, and then everyone forget about all their crimes. Is that easy. Just make a Smash Bros announcement and we'll forget all about all that shit.
Pal World shit.
Yeah, the Pal World shit that everyone has forgotten about already despite it being like the fucking talk of the
Yeah.
town.
2 months,
Whenever
3
that
months
was,
ago. Yeah, I
the
don't, yeah,
beginning of the
I've
year.
even forgotten. Yeah, that was like January.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't remember. I was on vacation.
Maybe it's good news because, like, you know, if no one's talking about it anymore, that means that Pal World won.
Maybe.
Nintendo's definitely not going to bring it up if they lose.
I forgot to fucking follow up on it. Oh shit.
Um.
Anyway, the point is, fuck Nintendo. But this is not. It's not for the reasons you're fucking calling out right now.
Yeah, this
like,
this is
fucking...
not. I'm gonna. I am. Despite not coming to Nintendo's defense, I am going to come to the defense of the $80 video game. I am going to come to the defense of the $70 fucking video game, and I am going to come to the defense of the variable pricing model that Nintendo is going forward with. And the reasoning behind that is because not a single human fucking soul gave a shit when Super Mario fucking Kart 8 came out on the Wii U, and it was a $50 game. And then it got 2 waves of $8 DLC, which bumps that up to a $66 game. And that's fine. Everyone's happy with that. When Mario Kart 8 got ported to the Switch as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there was not there wasn't even a fucking half, not even a 12th of the anger that there really should have been from the people that owned a Wii U. That, you know, if you own a Wii U, you're a loyal Nintendo customer. You are truly one of the fucking elite, brainless morons for owning one of these pieces of shit. And you paid full price plus DLC, and then Nintendo does what they have never done and effectively released a Game of the Year edition with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And it had all the fucking DLC on it, and they charged full fucking price. And there's no recourse for you, the guy who bought that game on the Wii U, the piece of shit. You don't get a fucking voucher that says, well, thanks for being a loyal customer. Here's $20 off the Game of the Year edition on the console that matters. Here's whatever. And then they made DLC for the fucking Game of the Year edition. So if you, like me, the fourth stooge, if you bought that game on the Wii U and you bought the DLC because you were like, yeah, I'm going to get back into Mario Kart after this, and then you never play it past 12 minutes of fucking both of those DLCs, and then you buy the fucking Switch version, and then they release DLC for that shit, which I did not buy because I was like, I think that I'm just kind of over Mario Kart. But now I have it as a part of the fucking Nintendo Switch expansion pass, which... Part 2, no one bitched. When you have, you know that there is John Nintendo fan is out there, and he has done all this shit and bought the fucking Booster Course Pass DLC day one for $25, and then they said, oh, and we're putting it on the Nintendo Switch Expansion Pass Plus for free. No recourse whatsoever, no refunds. No one bitched about this. Mario Kart 8 is an $85 game for the full experience. But no one gives a shit. But Mario Kart World is an $80 game with 50 fucking characters. So far.
So far, like, we know of?
That we know of, that have been shown. They have shown 50 characters. I'm gonna go to the Mario Wiki, okay? I went to the Mario Wiki because I knew that someone more autistic that cares more than me has written it down. They have looked at the treehouse shit.
There are people that will pay like $5 just to have a fucking character skin, right? There's people that'll pay $5 per fucking character DLC. That's already.
Yeah, if this was Super Smash Brothers, which don't get me fucking started. No one bitched and moaned. Hang on. No, we're going back to Super Smash Brothers because Smash is 20 times worse than Mario Kart. Mario Kart is a fucking Goodwill charity case compared to Super Smash Brothers because for Smash you pay $6 per fucking character.
Shit. Okay.
For the
but
DLC.
Okay, but it's not the same thing as Mario Kart. Think about it. Think about it. What do the characters add to Mario Kart? It really is cosmetic. It's not a whole
Well,
move
they
set.
have different
It is
weights, and
modeling,
some of them do matter.
animations, and weights, and
Um,
and you know what? Actually, if what they showed off is correct, right? Everybody has different characters for the power-ups. Like, there's hamburger outfit. We've got.
well, what seems to be the case is actually the hamburger unlocks outfits that you can choose from the character select screen.
Oh my god! What?
Yeah, the hamburger, according to this article on the Mario Wiki, the hamburger gives you additional outfits that you can
Is
then
that just
pick.
speculation, or do they know?
They no, from the treehouse playing, they showed the outfits on the character select screen.
Playing the direct.
To get back to my point about Super Smash Brothers,
sorry.
Smash launched as a $60 game and has 2 waves of $25 and $30 DLC. Super Smash Bros. Is the GTA 6 of Nintendo games. That shit costs you $100 fucking to have everything in it. And don't get me started on the fucking Mii costumes and shit that you can also buy additionally. If you want everything in Super Smash Brothers, this shit's going to turn into a fucking phone game. Now, for Mario Kart, we've got Mario and Luigi and Peach and the normal clowns that you would expect to see in a Super Mario Kart game. They have confirmed Pauline has returned, but they haven't confirmed Funky Kong, who is actually important, the bastards.
Returned?
She was in Mario Kart 8. She was the last character that was announced in the last wave of DLC.
Oh. I must have checked out before then.
Yeah.
Shit.
Peachette is not here from the Mario Kart 8 DLC. And MK's right, this was the same for Tropical Freeze. They ported essentially Game of the Year edition, but
what the
full
fuck
price.
Is...
Peachette, the Toadette wearing the crown. The one that started the meme of the super crown turning you into a woman. And then Nintendo had to come out and make an official press statement that only Toadette can become a magical girl when she puts the crown on. No one else can do that.
They did?
Yes.
That was real.
It's very funny.
You got somebody emailed one of them Bowsette.
Yeah, they asked if it's Bowsette canon. So we've got all these characters, including some normal ass enemies that only appeared in Mario Kart the phone one, whatever that shit was called. I can't remember right now.
There was a phone one? Yeah,
there's a phone one that's like a auto racer basically against CPUs that are pretending to be people. Dead Internet, the video game. So we've got people like fucking Dry Bones, who he was in Mario Kart DS. Fine, cool, World Tour. Thank you, MK. And we've got Wiggler, who I think he was also in Mario Kart DS. And then we've got Hammer Bro and fucking Chargin' Chuck and Nabbit and Monty Mole.
I saw Nabbit. I keep calling him a rabbit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And these maniacs, these absolute lunatics, have added they have reached into the bottom of the barrel, scraped the bottom of the barrel. There is dirt in the game. The bottom of the barrel is long gone. We're
tunneling. We're starting to dig.
But yeah, they're just turning into Minecraft. It's beyond Cal from Moo Moo Meadows. It's beyond Pianta from fucking Mario Sunshine.
Grass from Minecraft.
No, we have the fucking crabs from Mario Bros. We have the exploding goddamn snowman from Mario Kart 64. We have Swoop the Bat from Mario 64 and Super Mario World.
No,
we've got the little ladybug motherfucker that was a car.
No. What?
Yes, he is a car, in fact. There is a picture of him driving the car that looks like him. There is the dolphin from Super Mario World that is driving the bike that looks like him. We have the bee from Bee Movie and Mario Mario Galaxy from the honey place.
No. Wait,
you can play
Hazy Maze Cave, the little fuckers in the gas chamber?
Yes.
Oh my god.
You can play as Cheep. You can play as the penguin that Mario has thrown off the edge of Cool Cool Mountain a million times. You can play as the fucking coin purse.
Lucky 2. What?
Yes, Lucky 2 has been in the fucking video game.
Lucky 2 is easy.
Yes, this is not the bottom of the barrel. This is somewhere in the collection.
The spiny that he throws.
Eventually.
The cloud.
Yeah, the cloud. The fucking magic cloud.
Can you play as his fishing pole?
When they put all the baby characters in the game, people were like, "Yeah, you're fucking hitting rock bottom."
Insane.
Wrong. We didn't know how rock bottom you could get. Fishbone, the fucking lock-on target fish guy from Super Mario World, is playable in this shit. There's enemies here that you could forget existed. What's the complaint?
Angry. Where's Gino?
Dead again. And like, I don't even remember seeing some of these things in the direct or in some of the treehouse shit that I've watched, like Conkdor from Mario Mario 3D World.
Wait a minute. What's his crime? Is he in? What's his crime done?
Marty the Thwomp. They better put Marty the Thwomp in this shit. They're out of their mind if they don't put Marty the Thwomp in. Holy shit! I didn't even think about that.
I hope they're aware.
They better be aware. He better be free. I need to play as him.
Holy shit.
If Marty the Thwomp's in this shit, I'm buying it twice. Put it on the fucking record.
Okay.
The little ghost guy, Peepa. I didn't even know he had a name.
What? Oh, you mean Tiny Boo from?
No, not Tiny Boo. The little ghost guy. He's from Mario 3D Land. Link isn't here, and Villager and Inkling isn't here, but like I could give a fuck less, because honestly, I don't think Link ever should have been in Mario Kart. It's called Mario Kart, not Super Smash Kart. And everybody was sitting around being like, "Oh, next Mario Kart's gonna be like Super Smash Kart. We're gonna have fucking Captain Falcon." Thank God we don't have Captain Falcon. Thank God we only have Mario characters. Please continue to shit Mario characters in this game. It's funny because it's Mario Kart.
Oh my God.
So 50 characters so far in this video game, which is like how many more characters than the average Mario Kart game? I don't even remember how many people were in Mario Kart 8 after all the DLC. And on top of that, you've got 8 cups with 4 courses in each one of them, so we've got 32 courses. But that's not. But wait, there's fucking more. The Knockout Tour, which is the smashdown of this game, where it's like it's battle royales, 24 fucking racers, and you play the top 4. And all of these have 4 landmark courses in them, or something. I don't know how this shit works, because it shows Mario Circuit and Moo Moo Meadows and all this shit as like courses in these, or something. Checkpoints apparently. I don't know what those are supposed to be. But they are a continuous thing. This is like way more than the average course in Mario. It's 6 fucking courses, and they all count as a lap. And I watched the 11-minute long video of them playing that today, and it's fascinating to look at, and it's super cool. If this game never has DLC, then it is worth every fucking penny comparatively, because of the way that Mario Kart 8 was priced. I don't understand how the fuck people are complaining about this, because they are like, you are getting DLC already. It is currently the DLC. Is the problem that no one ever thinks that way? Like, do you buy the game and then you're happy to pay the extra $20 later? Can you not justify it when it's all in one purchase? I don't think that's the truth, because there's people that have purchased a game when it came out and then immediately also purchased the season pass.
Yeah.
And that's not a Nintendo thing typically, but I think, if I'm recalling correctly, I think Breath of the Wild came out and they said, we're going to sell an expansion pass for this game, but we're not done with it yet, but you can buy it now if you'd like. And I think that people probably did that. That's just my opinion on the matter, but I do think that people did buy the DLC sight unseen, which they did that with Smash also. Both Fighters Passes had a full purchase before you even bought, or before they even showed the characters off. So, I mean, they've already done it. Smash Ultimate came out with, we have DLC on the horizon. And, like, this is partially against what Nintendo said they were going to do. Because there was tons of times earlier in the beginning of the DLC era for Nintendo where they said, yeah, we're never going to have a game, and then immediately announced DLC for it, because we're going to have the most complete possible package for you. And then when people like it, we're gonna see. But like, that's out the window. And that's something that you can kind of shit on Nintendo for, because like this day and age, they're never going to be able to keep up with that kind of a promise. Like, they have to do it this way, because mostly because they're not going to tell the development team to take a fucking hike or start on something else. Those motherfuckers get a game out the door, and then immediately they have to say, all right, start working on the DLC because you're the guys that know the most about the game. I think that's the way that works. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way that works. For the real ones that stay through the entire rambling ass RuneScape looking video, thanks for hearing me out. I'm gonna refer to a comment that was left on a video called "Boycott Nintendo." No one's gonna fucking boycott jack shit. No one has ever boycotted jack shit, and it's never fucking worked. You can boycott my fucking ass.
No.
So, he says, what's killing me is the rising counter backlash. We had gamer solidarity for a while, and now a bunch of corporate suck-ups are crawling out of the sewers to argue that Nintendo is a quirky indie company and that video games should really be $150. Because they know just enough about inflation to know that prices go up, but not enough about industrial, technological, and market forces to know that there is zero reason games need to be more expensive.
Pause the fucking video.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Gamer
is he
solidarity.
talking about? Gamer solidarity. Dipshit.
As I said earlier, I love listening to the takes of morons. Character flaw. So I really hate to leave comments on videos because it boosts them in the algorithm. I can't stand it. Yeah. But
see, I've been thinking it'd be fun to collect comments and then just do a fucking podcast where you read them and respond. Like, it's just fun.
Well, I wanted to hear from this guy.
I like that format.
I wanted to hear from him. I thought I wasn't going to get a coherent response. But I was surprised. So I replied to him, and I said, would you care to elaborate on these industrial, technological, and market forces that do not affect the price of games? I'm not coming to the defense of Mario Kart 80 or trying to convince you that, well, thanks to inflation, games should be $400 a piece, so be happy, nerd emoji. But I'm not sure how exactly anyone expected to continue to live in the land of $50 console games when development costs aren't static. I think the counter-argument here is going to be that they can afford to sell at a loss, quote-unquote, because taking in the scale of sales, eventually you stop losing. But I think that logic really only would work if Nintendo actually was a quote-unquote quirky indie company that isn't working on possibly a dozen projects at once, some of which may never see the light of day and thus never make any return on investment. Yeah. So at this point, I thought I was going to hit with Nintendo shill, cocksucker, whatever, I don't know, come up with a name. But he actually did reply to me with a genuine response, and for that, he deserves some thanks and praise for actually having the ability to use the keyboard. Beyond gamer solidarity.
Yeah.
And so he responds to me, and he's got a 5-point list, like Martin Luther.
What?
He's nailing it on the door to my house.
All
point
right.
number one.
Point one, let's go.
Ubiquitous digital distribution not only means higher margins per sale, but also strangled most of the used games market. Anecdotally, I used to only buy used games, effectively $0 per sale. Now I buy all of my games on Steam sales, $10 to $30 per sale. Probably true. Definitely true that there are higher margins per sale on digital game because they have charged full price for digital games. And Nintendo is not alone in that. I am very much annoyed by...
But Nintendo's not alone in that, yeah.
By the fact that when you purchase a digital game, you get nothing but game with no discount. And in fact, you don't even really get game. You get a rental for a game. We won't discuss that here.
For that game.
Yeah, we won't discuss that here tonight for now. He's correct, but also admits that when he buys used, it was effectively $0 per sale. And at that point, surely he has no problem with just pirating the games.
Well, see, it's not even an argument that's relevant to what we're talking about because, I mean, why wouldn't any fucking studio do this? Because, yeah, the company doesn't have an obligation to the used games market. It'd be nice if they, left it alone, preservation. But, I mean, if we're talking about smart things to do as a company, why should they have an obligation to uphold the used game market? Why?
They have no obligation to it, and in fact, Nintendo
Why is that
probably
an
hates the
argument?
fucking used game market.
I mean, yeah, why is that an
Nin-
argument?
I don't know why that's an argument. I think that that's one of the quote unquote technological and market forces, industrial technological and market forces that
The point is,
that should be
it's cheaper for
driving
them.
the price of games down and not
Down,
making them
yeah.
more expensive. And I think that's the truth, that digital should make the games cheaper because there's no shipping involved, there's no logistics involved in that. But
Tax plus tariff.
yeah, tax plus tip, tax, and tariff. The three T's of getting robbed. But ultimately, it's irrelevant here because that's an industry-wide problem and not a we need to boycott Nintendo over this. I would understand if Microsoft was like, yeah, you can buy the physical Halo 20 for $69.99, or we'll sell you the digital one for $49.99. And if Sony also was like, yeah, you can buy whatever game we produce, Astrobot, for $69.99, and the digital one is whatever. And I think that someone said that like there's something called Astrobot Playground or Playroom or something that was free, like a bundle with the console maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a demo, and like I will be the first fucking person to come to you and say there should be something bundled with the console, no matter how shit it is, because like they did that for forever. There's people that have accurately commented that Nintendo invented the pack-in title, and that's not 100% the truth because they didn't sell.
I just think it's
to my recollection, they didn't sell the Super Nintendo saying here's Mario World for free, here's Mario Kart for free. But eventually they do sell.
Wasn't there some kind of fucking Duck Hunt? That was NES.
Well, yeah. So the NES is a completely different story. The NES came into a market that didn't exist, that was dying, that no one trusted, and they said, "Here's the NES and a fucking robot and a video game to play with them, and it's a toy and it's cool and it's an entertainment system and the whole family's gonna love it," and it worked. And I know that later you have shit like the NES that comes with Mario and Duck Hunt. You've got the NES that comes with Mario Bros. 3. That was the competition, or the I think it was called the competition set. You've got the NES that's bundled with like Track and Field, which that was Mario, Duck Hunt, and Track and Field, 3-in-1 cartridge because we're just getting crazy. And later in the Super Nintendo's life, you have the Super Nintendo that comes with Mario World taped to it. You have the Super Nintendo that comes with Mario RPG taped to it, or whatever the fuck. As the console goes on in its life, they do start bundling more and more with it.
Well, my first console was the N64, and guess what it came with?
Wave Race.
No! It came with the N64 title,
yeah, probably one. Mario 64.
Yeah, it was Mario 64.
Yeah, my N64, I'm one of those kids that got that shit for Christmas. And I think that it came with Mario 64 because Mario 64 was purchased alongside it.
Yeah, mine was a bundle, and I don't know when that happened. I'm pretty sure it was unless I'm misremembering. I was like 5.
Yeah, it's okay to misremember shit. The Wii is really where the pack-in title comes from, because Wii Sports was just a shit-ass tech demo that happens to be somewhat fun. MK's came with Mario 64. I know later in the N64's life, it was getting bundled with like Mario 64 or with Mario Kart. The Super Nintendo definitely came with a Mario Kart bundle because I had 2 copies of Mario Kart.
I don't remember when I got that. If I was, it might have been like 97 or 98 when I got it. Maybe. I don't remember.
That adds up. I think that's long enough. And there's a Wii that comes with Mario Kart Wii bundled with it. It's red and it's flat. It's like the Wii Mini, basically. There's the Wii U that came with Zelda. And I mean, like, some of this shit is not a true bundle. You know, the Wii U, the Wii. I don't know that they factored in the price of Wii Sports. The Wii U, I do believe they factored in this price of Nintendo Land, which was
You know,
the original pack-in title for the Wii U.
maybe they don't support the used game market as much as they used to, but it does kind of feel like they support the used console market because of all the special editions they come out with. People want to sell their old console and have money to buy the new fancy one, right? So it kind of feels like they support the used console market.
According to Nintendo, what that is actually they have a plan for the entire lifespan of the console in terms of how they sell it. So they sell the most basic edition of it to the early adopters, knowing that those people are going to buy it regardless.
Yeah.
And then midlife, for the people that were waiting, because they know there's people that were waiting, they will finally throw those people a bone and sell them like a special edition or, you know, something to entice them to the console finally. And then late life.
Idea.
Late life is when they finally make the light version, you know, the upgraded, the 2.0. This is why we have the top loader NES. This is why we have the smaller Super Nintendo. They never did this shit with the N64. And, you know, the Switch is honestly the first time that they turned that on its ass a little bit. Because midlife in the Switch, they made the little dickhead version of it that is cheaper and sacrifices the ability to connect to the TV at all. And like they've said,
there it is, the successor to the 3DS.
Yeah, the successor to 3DS actually. And then they later make the upgraded version that's, I think it's actually more expensive to buy the OLED because it's the fucking OLED. So the Switch is backwards.
Did we fully address point one? Like,
I think that we've done a good job addressing point one.
Does it not, like, yeah, okay, we don't understand the economic change over time of the...
I don't understand why... I don't understand how games could be $50 because they simply should charge less for distribution digitally. Correct, but also, like... That's
Nobody
not.
Else is doing that, so why is it a Nintendo? Why is it Nintendo's responsibility to pioneer that, for one thing? I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't like it either. I think I think that the digital distribution should be cheaper than physical distribution. I think that's fucking fair. That's only fair. But Nintendo, like, why is it all on Nintendo after this Direct to pioneer that shit? Nobody else is doing it.
The goofy thing about this is that this ignores the fact that Mario Kart 80 is $30 cheaper if you buy it digitally with the Switch too, as the bundle. It is only $50 more to get an $80 game bundled with bundled with your Switch. That's so he counters himself actually because Nintendo basically has pioneered the cheaper digital version here. So Nintendo a little while back actually did do a thing where they had what did they call it? A game voucher? Yeah, that was what they called it, game vouchers. Where you would buy the digital version and get a discount on another digital version? Hang on. They might have just quit doing this shit because no one cared.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, they still do it. Alright. For $99.98, you can buy a game voucher.
What the fuck?
Which ultimately saves you $20 on any 2 games digitally. So they actually do offer these shits for cheaper if you buy them digitally. If you don't wait for them to go on sale. Like Mario RPG was $20 at GameStop the other day, brand new.
Yo, shit.
And you should never buy Pokemon. But you should definitely never buy Detective Pikachu. You're ripping yourself off if you buy Detective Pikachu with this because it's $49.99 advertised. Point number 2 on the list of the Protestant Reformation over here. By complete accident, I think we covered point number 2 already, which was him saying the rise of hyper-monetization through special editions and microtransactions, which I will agree that, yeah, microtransactions, especially on a paid fucking video game, is horseshit. People need to be sent to the gallows for that kind of nonsense.
If Nintendo starts... That's the thing, Nintendo hasn't done that, to my knowledge. Like Smash DLC is the closest thing we get to it with first-party
Yeah,
Nintendo, I
me
think.
costumes in Smash are definitely microtransaction tier, but
Yeah,
fortunately they
and
are not required to enjoy the game. And in fact,
yeah,
you
they're
will enjoy the
barely.
game more to ignore that the Mii's even exist. Um, Microtransactions, yes, bad man.
But
Special
Nintendo's not the
editions,
pioneer of those, I don't think.
yeah, that was Todd Howard.
Like that's another thing though, is that this is a conversation specifically about like Nintendo and how they're damaging the industry by not being like the strong, paragon of whatever. And it's like they never started it and they still kind of don't do it. I don't know why you're even bringing it up.
Yeah, it's weird to bring it up. He's got a gripe with the industry at large, and
Yeah,
is
I get
like, I
that.
need I
Me
need to
too.
boycott Nintendo over this because it's cool now to say let's be mad at them for this
Well,
particular egregious offense.
I really
Um,
think it's just right now money is tight for a lot of people and like the price of the fucking new thing really want hobby can't buy it, money tight, everybody angry and just want to
well,
complain about
if money's
whatever,
so
right?
tight, asshole, maybe you should stop door dashing your Chick-fil-A to you.
Okay. You can't make
Um,
assumptions like that about whatever his name is.
I can't make assumptions about this guy, but I know that people are guilty of it. And I know that the meme is always like, man, how did this order turn into $30? And it's like, yeah, because that's the DoorDash fee or whatever your meal delivery man of choice is. And like people do it. People definitely just order food instead of going and getting it themselves. And I understand the temptation to be like, well, I'm comfy at home and I don't want to go out to that madhouse where people are crazy and have to deal with lines and shit. But like, save some fucking money. It's I feel
Yeah.
like that if you're complaining about the cost of recreational activities, shit that you do not need, first world problems, hashtag, then you have disposable income and you're just angry that you can't keep more disposable income. That's my opinion on the matter of, oh, it's too expensive. I think that people are genuinely bad with their disposable income. MK says, I guess people get the wrong impression off of Nintendo, maybe, that they took so long to change due to most likely their Japanese ways and now hold on to them as if they were doing them a favor. Honestly, what with the Reggie had to convince them to pack in Wii Sports. Their Japanese ways are honestly the enemy because they felt like they needed to get paid for Wii Sports. Which,
God, I miss Reggie.
yeah, it's time to miss Reggie. It's always time to miss Reggie. He's in greener pastures now, trying to kill Jeff Keighley.
What? Huh? Where? Huh?
Hyper monetization through special editions. I have no idea what that has to do with anything because when you buy a special edition, as was mentioned earlier, you're getting a lot of shit with it, typically.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So if it costs more to buy a special edition,
I don't
great
know
example.
what he's talking about.
I can't tell you, like, I can't tell you a game where it's just like, well, we're only making a special edition of this. Maybe
Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild had a special edition, right? And it usually comes with some shit like an art book and a steel cage or whatever the fuck, right?
I think, yeah, that had a special edition. I didn't get it because it's like, whatever, who cares?
Look up, like, what the fuck is the name of that fucking book?
I have Metroid Dread Special Edition that I think was $80. So it was
Hyrule Historia, right?
Oh boy, the Hyrule Historia.
That shit, whatever. Was that a special? Was that something like that bundled with?
No, you can just buy it.
I know you can just buy it.
Oh, typically all they bundle with games is like an art book, which is not
it's like
the Hyrule Historia.
Okay.
It's just it's a lot more simplistic than that. Concept art sometimes, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came with a big book of concept art that's way more interesting than the game. And Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came with a big book of concept art that's undeniably probably better than the game.
Just thinking about it, like, if you go to Barnes & Noble or whatever, even half-price books, like, that's supposed to be used shit, it's like, you'll go look at art books or concept art books, whatever, special editions, and the fucking book alone sells for like $50.
Yeah.
by itself. And I can't think of special edition as you're bundled with the game, an art book, and then you get other shit too. It's never just game art book. It's always there's some fucking third thing, right?
It's normally game, art book, soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtrack. And it's like, what do you mean hyper monetized? What do you mean inflated? It's literally a bundle deal. You're literally getting a discount on the fucking book because these fucking things are way too expensive at Barnes & Noble. I don't shop at Barnes & Noble. Shit's expensive.
I have to imagine that this guy is maybe saying, like, they sell physical games and they're, like, only a special edition.
So you can't collect. Oh, this ties into his fucking. They're gimping the used game market.
Maybe. I mean, you could definitely just sell the game.
Maybe he's trying to like tie that into point 1 about the costs and how it's like they're not going to invest in physical media, which means they're gimping the used game market unless they're making an unfair amount of return on it. You know what I mean? So maybe he's criticizing that for being like predatory.
Is the idea supposed to be that no one's going to sell their special edition copy? Because I've seen plenty of steelbooks in GameStop before.
I mean, yeah, but.
And maybe he's angry about like Metroid Prime Trilogy, which they did end up reprinting. And like. Xenoblade wasn't a special edition to begin with. It was just very low print and exclusively through GameStop, which was a mistake.
God, what a fucking mistake.
It was also through Nintendo's online store, but they didn't really get that out the door very well.
Ugh.
I don't know. I guess that your charitable take, where you're saying that like they don't have any version but the special edition, and therefore it costs more for shit that I don't want. I get that.
Collector of this game.
Yeah, I get that, but like the companies themselves, the market itself, people don't care about the physical games unless they're a collector. I don't actually blame them for making special editions, but I don't see very many games that get a physical release with a special edition that don't have a normal edition. But outside, like, yeah, limited run games has quote-unquote special editions, but that's not the developer's fault. That's not the console manufacturer's fault. That's the developers who can't get normally, like, these are indie guys most of the time. They can't get their fucking games published through as physical games very often. Like, Limited Run has to do the publishing for them because it wouldn't happen otherwise. And there have been some instances, like the Konami Classics collection, that, yeah, Konami shouldn't have to go through Limited Run to make fucking video games physical.
Konami's not Nintendo.
Yeah, Konami is not a little indie company. The third point, and this one's one that I barely want to touch because this is not my wheelhouse. Supply chains are faster and more efficient now than they were in the late 90s.
Oh, fuck.
I
do not fucking believe that. Especially not with all the tariffs going on right now.
In terms of we get a lot more shit from Japan, sure. And like I said, I don't want to touch it because I don't know a whole lot.
If it was if supply chains were in such fucking good shape, what the fuck has been going on the last 10 years with all the supply chain issues and fucking truckers and the fucking gas this and corn that and eggs this and fucking
the supply chain is in such good condition.
The battery shortage, the lithium, the fucking mining mineral shortage, the fucking computer chip shortage, the fucking things have not been better. The pandemic has ruined us. What is he talking about?
Maybe you can argue, well, we do more, like, we get more video games from Japan, so
are
like
more willing because they've realized, yeah, there is a market, and the rise of communication has made shit more globally communicative and available, yeah, market-wise, but I don't think it's like easiest as it's ever fucking been at this point in time. I don't think that's an argument to say, like, well, there's no reason for the cost to be this cost because it's easier than it was 20 years ago. It's like, okay, there's still problems. That doesn't mean anything. We still have things we're dealing with right now that is affecting the costs.
Very true.
So what's this fucking argument even mean?
It is a mystery. I am not
Anyway.
going to engage him in more mental combat than I already have.
Alright,
let's move to his fourth point. Recurring monetization, which I think might be the sequel to number 2. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft charge for online play. That alone would more than make up for inflationary pressures. Now we get pricier games and they'll still charge extra to access features you paid for. That is the truth.
I would only agree if it was always online.
It's the truth that I shouldn't have to pay another fucking subscription fee on top of my goddamn normal ass internet connection to play video games on the internet, especially over Nintendo's shit ass communication system.
God.
When
nice. Well,
like the world of PC gaming is clearly unmatched in this in most instances. Because when you have some shit like Team Fortress 2, anybody can host a server. When you want to play Minecraft, anybody can host a fucking server. And
well,
that
I missed
honestly,
the fucking GameCube, right? Like, we missed out on that perfect fucking world where we had the GameCube hooked up and we're playing PSO on the GameCube on the internet, right?
Yeah, but that was Sega's servers, and you had to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true.
In fairness,
online.
in fairness, Guy has said that he brought all the big three into it. The Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft charge you for online play.
All right.
And he says that should more than make up for inflationary pressures. And the problem there is that I think that he has ignored that when you have an online service like this, you have created more jobs that you need to fill. I'll be the first to admit that I live in shit-ass bumfuck Egypt and work in a small IT department that doesn't have enough fucking people. But I promise you that the multi-billion-dollar companies that just got listed there have a small IT department that doesn't have enough people, but it has more people than we have. And that means that they don't have one fucking server administrator for this shit. They've got several server administrators for this shit, and they've got them positioned all over the fucking place. And they've got server administrators that talk multiple languages, and that shit's on the fucking job application that says you better speak Japanese and English, which means that your value just went up quite a bit because you're smart and also able to use computers.
Imagine how few people there are that can do that job, and like what, you know.
Yeah, and it's like they're not having these guys work for free, and they're definitely paying them at least some of what they're worth. So I don't understand where the idea that like if Nintendo Online costs $20 a year for one person, but it costs $40 a year, whatever I can't remember how much it costs for the family plan. When you upgrade to the Plus subscription, it's $80, but you can still have 8 people on that, so that's $10 a person. But the regular one is like $5 a person or $2 a person or something crazy. But even if 1 million people have that and they're all paying the $80 for it, that's $80 million. But like, how much of that doesn't turn into? Sorry, $34.99. Thank you for looking shit up for me. That's not $2 a person. That's 8 people with $35. You do the fucking math. I'm not doing it. Even if it's $80 million coming into their pockets per year for this, does that cover the costs of having the administrators for this shit and the people that do the development for it and the guys that buy it? Like, does that fucking pay for the hardware?
It's like 35 and then 8 people. That's about.
And it's like, okay, it's a one-time cost for the hardware. Supposedly, it's never a fucking one-time cost for the hardware. Believe me.
Less than $5 per person.
Yeah, it's less than $5 per person.
Yeah.
The people constantly have to get paid, even if the hardware was one-time cost. In the perfect world where hardware is a one-time cost, the electricity is going to be a recurring cost wherever they host this shit. Even if they don't host it themselves, honestly, if they don't host it themselves, they're probably paying more than they have to because they're fucking contracting it out to some jackass. And so like, even if they don't pay their own guys, they're definitely paying somebody's guys.
And it's like better than fucking Comcast.
Even if we consider they're making money on it, why the fuck shouldn't they make money on it? Are we coming back to the point? No, I think they need to be a charity organization because I don't want to have to pay them. Is that the entire point? Um, a great man over speakerphone said that he went to work every day knowing that
Oh
the company
God.
had to make money because that's how he got paid. And like, yeah, I think the company has to make money. So they shouldn't have to run the fucking internet service and say, well, shit, it's a fucking loss. But we'll run it for them anyway. If they didn't make money off the damn Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, we wouldn't have any fucking online games, and that's just the facts.
Yeah.
We would, if they didn't make money off of it, we would either end up being in the PC realm again, where it's like, all right, make your own fucking server, or we just wouldn't
Yeah.
have online games. It's a personal gripe. I've seen so many comments where they're like, how dare they charge to chat with people over the internet on the games? And it's like, you have outed yourself as a fucking 12-year-old because Microsoft did this shit with the fucking Xbox Live subscription. I think it was free to chat and you couldn't play the games instead of it just being a bundled deal. But like, this is normal. This has been a thing. You had to pay for the privilege of having somebody mail you a nasty voicemail on Xbox Live. I liked having the free online on the Wii back when it was free, and on the 3DS when it was free. But it was bad, and I think the worst part about paying for Nintendo's internet connection is that it's still bad despite the payments. I wish that it had improved, but maybe it will. And maybe when it improves, they'll raise the price, and I'll say, okay, at least it's improved. I'm going to move on to Mr. Guy's fifth point, because it's the weakest point that he's offered. It's complete shit. I don't agree with it. He should have never said it. Number 5. There are way more gamers, and the industry is more profitable than it's ever been. He's wrong. There are way more gamers. He's right. Let me start off with he's right. Okay. There are way more gamers. There are a bajillion more people playing video games right now in 2024 than there are people playing video games in 1985. It's a product of scale. It's a product of the fact that no longer do you get shoved in the locker for playing video games. The locker shovers are playing video games too. It's just what games they're playing. The locker shovers are Halo fans, or at least they used to be. The locker shovers are probably currently Animal Crossing fans. Regardless of how many people are playing video games right now, I do not think the industry is more profitable than it's ever been. There is more money tied up in the industry than it's ever been. But if the industry was more profitable than it's ever been, then you wouldn't hear about some fuck studio getting closed every other week, and all these people getting laid off, and all these people getting crunch cultured to death, making a fucking video game in a week and a half. And it better be the fucking game of all time. And if it was so goddamn profitable, then a game could come out and not sell 10 trillion copies on day one, and the company wouldn't consider it a dismal failure because every human being on the planet didn't pick it up as soon as it launched. Like,
this is one of those. I think it's really, really fucking rich that he mentions earlier. People don't understand the economics of the supply, blah blah blah. Because this is a very common mistake that people make when they're talking about these things. You confuse profit with like investment.
Yeah, I not even investment, just money tied up in it. The fucking frozen assets involved in making a game. I mean, I do think that the workers are being paid more than they were in 1990. I think that my argument initially with this guy was to kind of say, I don't think that we could live in the $50 mainstream video game for forever because these guys are in a professional world and therefore expect to get paid some amount, right? Like we're not in an age where everybody that makes a video game is starting a Kickstarter and using that as the fuel to power the game. They are getting paid a salary by a company that has investors, and that's the tragedy of it. I always go into the Mega Man 2 argument where it's like they made Mega Man 1 on Capcom's dime and then made Mega Man 2 at home. Because that's the lore of Mega Man 2. Capcom didn't think Mega Man 1 did all too hot. Mega Man developers thought otherwise and thought, yeah, we can do even better actually now that we've made the thing and we have the groundwork. And then they make Mega Man 2 under the table and bring it back and say, sell it. And, you know, the credits for an NES game, as good as they are, is not very many people. Um, the Tears of the Kingdom credits are longer than the game, depending on how you played it. If you just put the big balls on and you go fight Ganon immediately, and you win,
Right.
the
God,
the credits are gonna be longer than the amount of time you played the game. There are
he's
hundreds,
right.
there are hundreds of people credited in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and it's like, where did the money come from? They
Yeah.
certainly aren't paying these dudes after the fucking game comes out. He wants to say quirky indie company about Nintendo, but like that's how the quirky indie company works. Is the game comes out and now these guys could finally make their fucking money. Everything that they had up to this point was like they work on the game in their spare time after their actual day job that does something for society, or the Kickstarter worked out and now they've got $400,000 or however much to pay off whatever debt they have so they can no life the game until it comes out.
Yeah.
So he ends his statement with, it's like how a mix of factors made things like refrigerators, microwaves, computers, and TVs cheaper than ever. Inflation is not a magic blanket that makes everything linearly more expensive. And that's true, that inflation does not linearly make everything more expensive, because you don't notice inflation happening except in hindsight. Inflation is a rearview mirror fucking deal. I can agree with the inflation take.
Because he's implying he has a better grasp on the movement of inflation than like everybody who's like, well, it seems reasonable. And like, I just don't think that's true. I don't think any of us can really have that fucking grasp on it.
2014, thank you, MK. I don't know if he's implying that he has a better grasp on inflation. He thinks that inflation, he accurately thinks that inflation is not the only force that causes prices to rise. He inaccurately wants to say that because that's not the only force, it's not something you can blame. I think that he's doing a classic trick called cherry picking, where he picks some things that should be that factor and say this is why shit should be cheaper, but ignores why shit should be more expensive. And to quote myself, I do not think that games should be $150. Not because of any tangible reason, but because of just basic supply and demand. I think people just would not put up with it. I think that it wouldn't be feasible for a company to sell a $150 game. At least not up front, because remember, with fucking DLC, sometimes games do turn into $150 games. And in fact, with the amount of people that I've seen put money into microtransactions and the willingness of them to admit that they've spent thousands of dollars on a fucking game, that's the kind of horrifying shit that
I can't, like, how can anyone even fucking this is honestly completely par for the course. It's not even a huge spike in the trajectory of fucking the market. I don't understand. What line? Where was the line?
There was never a line.
Was $75 what's the fucking line? And what defines the fucking line?
There was absolutely never a line. The line is only there because a million people decided to complain. 12-year-olds in Nintendo's live chat decided to complain because they knew mom is not going to fucking buy them that shit when it comes out. They're going to have to wait until Christmas. That angers them. All of my consoles got at Christmas until I was able to save up, until I was able to save up money. Like, until I learned how to save my birthday and Christmas money, my consoles came to me at Christmas. And like, this goes back to the joke that I was going to make at the beginning of the entire video, the entire stream, where I was going to say these people that make these comments in these videos and in the Nintendo live chat where they're like, no, that's too much, lower that price. These people are people that like are 12 to 15 years old. I think that you are reasonably able to say, well, as like I was saying, dad's over here knowing that his kids are going to want one, and it's like, damn, that sucks that it's expensive. But I don't think Dad has enough time to post in the Nintendo live chat. And also, I don't think that anybody in the Nintendo live chat has children, because most of these guys have never seen a woman or touched a woman. The other thing is that, like I said, if you are complaining about the luxury of playing video games being too expensive, then you're in a great situation because the only thing you're
Yeah.
complaining about is the luxury of video games being too expensive. You're not bitching about the fucking food going up or whatever, and you might be bitching about that too, but at least you can still like afford food and rent. If you have disposable income and you sat down thinking I'm going to spend $300, no questions asked, and then you're mad because it's $450, it's an extra $150, and that's what breaks the fucking camel's back. No, the fuck it didn't. Save up that $150 that you were gonna spend. Just put it in a sock at the end of the week. $10 fucking dollars from April the 2nd until June the 9th or whenever it is, and you'll have almost all of that money made up. Especially if you raised it to $20 or $50 or how much you can spare because you decided, well, I think I'm going to eat ramen tonight or rice and beans, which is fucking actually healthy. I'll cut up a goddamn onion and boil it and
I don't remember
and
how
put it
many
over
times it was,
rice.
like, stale ravioli and fucking beans, you know. But like also I wasn't getting, like, again, you don't have to get it at launch.
Don't get McDonald's fucking delivered to you. Don't get the Burger King to deliver the food to you.
This is
Just
a whole nother argument.
It is a whole nother argument. But I think
Frugality, blah blah blah.
I think that it's a first world problem, and I know the problems with the first world right now, and a
Yeah.
lot of it is I'm not good at spending my waste money. Even if you can't spare the $10, spare $5 a week to put into the Switch 2 savings account, and you'll get it faster than you think you will, and you won't be down anything. Like, don't go to the fucking card game tournament every Saturday if you can't bother. Like, man, don't get me started on the fucking Smash players.
Thinking about the fucking GameCube era, I was like, all right, what do I want? 1 week closer of GameCube or box of junky cereals? You know? And I'm like, nah, I'll go without the cereal this week. I'll go without the Twinkies. I'm not gonna buy the whatever the fuck little cheap shit. I don't know, just I just, you know, I was excited for it, kept thinking about it, and I just saved up for it, even though, I don't know, when you're 12, that shit seems like it's $1 million.
I think, given the situation with, like I said, especially with Mario Kart 8 having been $85 or more, depending on how many times you bought the fucking game, with Smash Ultimate
Skyrim
being, let's see here, a $120 game total. And that's only for unique playable characters, not costumes and shit like that. The Nintendo has definitely not broken any barriers. No genie has been let out of the bottle. You have been led astray. Moist Critical is the biggest name that I have seen complain about it, and that's a really powerful soapbox to be standing on to make these really kind of poorly researched accusations. Especially to open up with how Nintendo is cowardly to have hidden the price. It's like they have never come out with the price.
That's normal.
Yeah, it's not like they said, here, put a pre-order in and give us your credit card information, and we'll just charge you what we think it's worth. He does also make the very baseless accusation in the thumbnail that $90 for physical games, $80 for download games, and it's like, I haven't seen any confirmation of that on the American side. The Japanese games are $10 cheaper on the eShop, but Elon Musk was wrong about the Switch 2. That would be a funny title. Now that I've dick-rode Nintendo for this long, we do need to address an elephant in the room. That all of these people do have correct, and that anybody that has come to the defense of is both striking too early, because they don't fucking know, because I haven't seen any confirmation of this, and they shouldn't even attempt to defend it, and that is the goddamn game key cards. That's horseshit. That is 100% fucking ass.
Oh yeah. Okay, the only thing I can think of to devil's advocate and like defend it is like, wasn't it supposed to be no first party?
They didn't say it was supposed to be shit. They said some games are game key cards where the download is on the cartridge. Yeah. No current first-party Nintendo games have been listed as a game key card. And all the outlets have reported that even the Switch 2 versions of Switch games are actually a Switch game with a download code. Which I don't like that, but I don't really care about the complaints that people have levied about how, like, oh, well, they're selling Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom again, and they're marking them up $10 and all this bullshit. You don't have to buy Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for the Switch 2. They didn't say they weren't going to work. It plays Switch 1 games. If you want them to work at 60 frames a second or whatever, which I do think, given that
features or whatever.
Given that the Switch emulators were able to run those games at high frame rate, I do think that the Switch 2 should have been able to run them at high frame rate. I don't know if anybody has confirmed one way or the other if they will run the Switch games at better frame rates without the upped resolutions, because the improved versions are supposed to be improved textures and resolutions and all that nonsense. Right. And the thing about it is, I know that Nintendo will probably never make a fucking game keycard game. They did this as 100% a concession to third parties that are used to having a game run on the console. And in fact, my experience with the PlayStation 4 last night has opened my eyes to this world, because I didn't know about it. But the fact that I put Spider-Man into that fucking PlayStation and it spent 40 minutes downloading the game from the disc to the PlayStation for me to be able to play it tells me everything I need to know about these games that have been made for the... Huh?
40?
It took 40 minutes. I went and got the fucking hamburger in the time that it took. No, you cannot tell it to not. And I know the reason. Because these motherfuckers are so talentless. These developers are so untrained in terms of writing efficient code for their video game. These fuckers are using Unity and Unreal and whatever the fuck, and they have never seen an if statement in their life. They don't know what efficiency is like. They didn't take a programming class. They didn't do anything. What has happened is that the game is so fucking dog shit that the disc read speeds are probably not enough to give you a seamless experience in the game. You'd be hitting loading screens and bullshit swinging all over fucking New York City.
Channeling the fucking spirit of Bacchus.
Spider-Man would hit an invisible fucking wall and die from yanking that data off the disc. They have to install it to the console so that it'll read faster from the fucking hard drive. And that's probably the issue with Street Fighter 6, is that Capcom didn't fucking optimize that game for a goddamn. It sits there and it runs on the PlayStation 4 because it installed from the disc, and like this is the world we're living in, and they don't want to waste all that. They don't want to waste all that money, quote unquote, all that money, the fucking 10 cents that it would cost them to put the full 50 gigs onto a cartridge.
I gotta be right back. But
that's fine. They want to just download it from the server and then install it on your machine so that it'll run better, because they're just not good at making games anymore. And we're probably going to end up seeing a fuckload of third-party games that are these download-only titles. Because, I mean, fucking Bravely Default, a 3DS game that's 11 gigabytes big, should not have to be this way. It should never have been put onto a thing where it's from a cartridge a physical download only. What a fucking idiotic idea. I can't formulate the words. I'm honestly at a loss. I don't like the potential future for seeing some game that I'm really looking forward to. When fucking Mega Man Legends 3 actually does happen, and those bastards at Capcom put it on a fucking download disc, I'm going to be very torn. And ultimately, being 11 gig, Bravely Default's supposed to be 11 gigabytes big. That's hearsay that I've seen through posts on the internet. These people could be incorrect. The 3DS version's 2 gigabytes, yeah, but the Switch version has the up-res textures and all that nonsense. It probably is bigger than 2 gigabytes. Yeah. I'm accusing it of being a 3DS game because it is, but I'm not saying they're just porting a 3DS game. They did show it quote unquote up-resed. It still looks like shit. It always looked like shit. Sorry. It's the thing. It's like I sat around waiting that entire direct, hoping they were going to show Digimon Story Time Stranger, and now it's like, well, is Digimon Story Time Stranger going to be a fucking download only title? Do they know how to make video games? Can I rely on Bandai to give me a physical edition of this game that's real? Or is it going to be only Nintendo? Am I buying the Nintendo console that finally actually is just a Nintendo console? It's a worrying prospect to a guy that likes to collect games and likes to have something physical to show for it. And own, because I've only had to get into the fucking fight twice at this point, where it's like I have NES games that still fucking work. I've got Atari games that still fucking work. I can give them to somebody. I can have them play it. They will last generations. 40 years from now, they will probably still work. They've been around for 40 years, and they will be around 40 years longer. And you can't say that for a game that says, I need to go talk to a server to get the game. And I don't see why people don't get that. Maybe they just don't think big picture. Maybe they don't think at all. I can see people not thinking at all. It's a worrying prospect. And not even like, I don't think the games are going to disappear. I in fact think that the games are going, the games have a higher chance of being preserved than ever because people actively are thinking about it nowadays. Games being preserved or not being preserved is only a worry right now because we didn't think that we would ever have to. So I am to finish that thought out, I am going to patiently hold my breath and not assume the worst about the future of third-party games on the Switch being just digital download titles as a commemorative case. I'm not even going to go into all the speculation that people seem to have over them about how, like, oh, well, it's just like a physical game. It just gets you the download. You could always give it to a friend or sell it or whatever. Like, we don't know that. I don't remember them saying that shit. I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not going to entertain the assertion that the Switch 2 versions were going to be included with the Nintendo expansion pass. I don't see that shit happening. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll, I don't know, take the Switch DLC off of it and start adding different things. But I'm in wait and see mode as far as that goes.
Yeah.
I am fully expecting the worst because I always fully expect the worst.
Yeah.
I guarantee Mega Man Legends 3 is going to get announced and actually make it out, and it's going to be game keycard only, and also Switch 2 exclusive for eternity, and never get any kind of real physical release because Capcom sucks. And then they're going to also make Mega Man X9, and I'm going to not care, but still care a little bit. And then they'll make Battle Network 7, and motherfucker, they'll all be download game key cards.
Bruh.
That's how bad things are going to be. That's just like my opinion, man.
Remember to hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, remember to smash the fuck out of that like button. Launch an orbital strike on subscribe and fucking crack that bell icon. Put it on display in Philadelphia.